Okay, now we're good. Guess I should have made sure that was set up beforehand. Good evening. Hope you're doing well. Tonight, we're going to build a kit. Maybe move this volume down a little bit. Gotta figure out this streaming music volume balance with the audio, because I don't want it to be overwhelming. And I'll tell you, listening to my earphones, it is a bit overwhelming. All right, so what we're doing tonight, it's going to be a good evening. My wife is getting our little guy down to bed, and here I am. So, trying to watch the chat on my phone, see if that works for me, because I don't know what I'm doing with all of that. But, anyways, so tonight we're working on the Psycho Zaku. This is my Gaahleri World Creator Cup entry. This dude right here. It's a big kit. Lots of fun. But in my last session, we built his torso and his head. And talked a lot about the cool things, the neat details that they have in here. Things like underneath this side, there's the compartment for the pilot, which is pretty cool. There's a little flip doodad in there that allows you to open and close it, which is neat because it's a cool detail that when you armor it, when you put all the armor on, you don't see that necessarily. But if you're not using the armor, or if you leave part of it undone, which you can do, then you have the cool option of being able to see the pilot in there. Really neat looking kit. And then here's his head. And inside the head, when you turn his head, and you can sort of see it moving there, there's his mono eye, and it moves back and forth, which is really a pretty sweet little gimmick. So tonight we're going to continue building on this guy. And we're going to go to step 3, which is his right arm. And oh my, that was really loud. I apologize. Oh, that was really loud too. Sorry if that just blew your ears out. So I like to take all my pieces out. I cut them. I trim them up. I clean them up for the most part. I don't get too obsessed with the nub marks. If I were just building a kit that was literally just going to go on a shelf, right? Then I would probably, I would be more concerned with the nub marks. And so when that's the case, when that's what I'm doing, I pay a lot more attention to those. But in this particular kit, this guy's going to be heavily customized. There's going to be a lot of things going on with him. And so I have plenty of time here to take care of those nub marks. I'm not really concerned with that. It's going to be easy for me to clean up. And yeah, so here we are. We'll go through the kit once we put it back together. Once we get it together, we'll identify all the areas that need some work, need some cleanup, and we will make sure that it looks great for everybody. All the little teeny tiny pieces in the arm here. Okay, so what we're working on right now is going to be his right arm. It includes a shield that hangs out there on his arm. Let's see here. Okay, so here we are. Got our manual. So as we start to build here, let's talk a little bit about what has transpired in the last few days. Okay, put a vote out to the community, and that vote was to see who the pilot's going to be, which is sort of my method for being able to say this is what our paint scheme is going to be. So I had 3 options that we put out to the crew. We said, hey, you could choose between the traditional, right? So that would have been a very traditional paint scheme. It would, the storyline would be Daryl Lawrence, the pilot of the Psycho Zaku, very much what you would expect to find. And then I do some heavy weathering, battle damage, things like that on it. And the storyline here for this competition is that we're looking at this Gundam is going to have a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. And so in this case, in this storyline, Daryl would have a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day, which is saying a lot because the guy's a quadruple amputee. So I feel like pretty much every day for him is a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. But nonetheless, that's the storyline. And so the thought was, hey, option A, paint it very traditional. Orange, red, navy blue. It's going to be cool. Or black. You could argue what color that is. I say it's navy. Some people say it's black. It is what it is. So then option B was playing for the other team. So in that alternate universe storyline, metaverse, whatever you want to call it, in that storyline, you have a plan was concocted to take this suit down to Earth and to then paint it like and disguise it as an EFSF suit. Somehow they thought that was going to somehow trick the Earth Federation, right? I mean, humor me here. I probably wouldn't. But it's a fun story. So that was the second one. It's going to be painted like an EFSF suit. And then the third option is that it's going to be like a brand new kit, right? This is hot off the factory floor. This would be an immaculate, pristine, perfect condition kit that is now going to have a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day, right? That's a bummer of a position to be in when it's a perfect kit, right? And so the community voted, and did not disappoint. The community voted to select the plane for the other team. So ultimately what that means is that this kit is going to get a paint job very similar to EFSF. But I don't think it's going to be straight, right? We're not talking straight paint, right? So this is not just, hey, paint it the colors of a Earth Federation suit. This is how do we make the storyline match in such a way that it makes sense, right? That, my friends, is the key. We need the storyline to match. And because of that, right, the storyline has to match. It has to fit the bill. And so what I'm thinking I'm going to do, just my idea in my brain right now, is that we're going to paint it as if it's mid-conversion. Okay? So we're talking, it's actually probably going to get two. We're probably going to get two different paint schemes. I'm going to paint it like the classic kit, like the classic unit. And then I'm going to start painting it like an Earth Federation suit, as if they are right in the middle of painting this dude and converting them. And so that's going to be fun, but the next vote that's going to come out for people to pick is going to be, which Federation suit do we paint it like? We could paint it like the Thunderbolt, right? The primary enemy of this dude. We could paint it like that. We could paint it like Gramps, RX-78. And that would be sort of fun. Right, that'd be pretty fun. So we have some options. And so it's going to get a paint job, but it's going to be like it's mid-conversion, right? Which is sort of cool. All right. Here's his elbow joint. It's pretty nice. That's a pretty good bend, right? And in the real world, there's some tubing that's going to cover this up because it's a dust cover for keeping debris out of the joint. But for now, we're just going to leave it like this because, as I said in my last stream, I don't want to mess with the dust cover yet, right? I don't want to accidentally jack them up, which is highly possible in my world. And so we're just going to leave them off for now and wait for final assembly before we put those doodads on. And so now we've got our elbow piece. We got to add in the gauntlets here. That's right. We'll run the gauntlet. Okay, we take the bottom piece. There we go. Orient this way. Oh, goodness gracious. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. It is Monday, Memorial Day, 2026. And it was a good weekend. I actually took off work on Friday and Thursday of last week to just give some extra time because it was our younger son's last day of school and field day and I mean all that good stuff that comes with that. Sorry. Distracted reading the manual because it says to bend it and then apply the next parts. But I think that's because it's telling you to do that so that you can capture the tubing in there. But I'm not doing that yet, so I don't think it's as important. Okay. Get these pieces here. Yeah, I think that's the right one. They look similar. Which one is it? These two. See, this is where it gets interesting because you have two pieces that on the outside look very similar. Right? Look at these. From the outside, they are, I mean, dead on. Like, those are identical pieces. When you look at the back side of them, when you look at the back side, you can see there is a difference. This one over here has that U-shaped piece, and this one does not. And I have to discern which one goes where. Okay, I think I know. I think the one with that U-shaped piece goes on this side. Focus. Focus. There we go. Focus. I think it goes on that side because it helps hold in that plastic piece. The little poly cap. So that's going to go there. I believe that to be correct. If it's not, we'll flip it. That's not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. Okay, here we go. Nice. I don't even remember what I was talking about. That's okay. So I took some time off end of last week. And that was nice. That was actually, I didn't realize it, but I felt after having taken it off, I sort of feel like it was much needed time. And so here I am. It's Monday night. I had today off because it was Memorial Day. And now I have to go back to work tomorrow, which is okay. It's okay. I do like my job. I have a great job. God has blessed me immensely with a really good job. This is a tight piece. Holy smokes. Okay, so that's a tight fit. So this is something I note when I go to do the paint, because this is such a tight fit that when it comes to painting and then trying to get this piece on and off after it's been painted, it's probably going to scratch the metal or the finish underneath it. So I may hit some of those inner parts with some sandpaper just to give it a little bit of extra grace in there. We will see. I don't know for sure, but duly noted. Okay, and then yeah, so I've gonna work tomorrow, and that'll be good. It's always weird when you get back to work after a few days of being off, especially when you unplug completely like I did. You know, that's it's good to have time like that, but it's weird to go back because it never fails. There's something you're catching up on, and trying to get back in the swing of things can be a little bit tricky sometimes. All right, now I need a poly cap. It's this guy here. Instructions say insert this way. That piece pointing up. Ta-da! Done. All right, poly cap. And then we get the cuff. I'd call this the cuff. I don't know. Maybe it's not a cuff. I would call it a cuff. Oh, I see. Okay. All right. That fits nicely. Okay, so you notice this has got some nub marks here. We got this one here. We got that one there. This one back here. Right, so when I go through the model and I highlight areas that I need to work on, I will note those. I don't need them to be completely flushed out and like non-existent, because the reality is that they're going to get painted over, but they have to be smooth and flat. That's the trick. You have to make sure that when I do paint over them, that it's going to look good. And so we will have to make sure that they are smooth and flat. All right, so now this is the elbow piece. That's nice. I like that. That looks really good. It fits really nice. Fits really nice. And this piece goes on here. Okay, so here we are. Here we are. Bingo. Nice little details. I think these cuffs are cool. Their gauntlets are cool. But I feel like, you see how these gauntlets on this side, they have these lines? I feel like that should continue around the back. So maybe we'll put them in there. I don't know. I haven't decided yet what customization we're doing. But to me, that feels like a worthy adventure. Okay, next, take this piece and this polycap. Insert. Ta-da! Okay. Now we're gonna take that. We got these pieces, and we need this little clippy piece. This guy here. Okay. So that's going on there. Boom. This guy goes here. This is the shoulder joint, and this is where all the action happens. This kit fits together so nicely. Like, things just move smooth. Like, I love it. Not all kits are like this, you know? Some kits are really tough. And this, so far, I mean, I'm only a few pieces in, right? But so far, it's just a joy to work with. Okay, next step. Next step, I need to fix the microphone here. Sorry, guys. We'll do that. That way it stays pointing up. Okay. Oh, look at that. There's these little, like, pegs sticking out. I feel like those are going to have to be a different color because, yeah, they need to stand out. It's cool. It's like he's got elbow pads, like he's about ready to go mountain biking or something. All right. We're going to put the shoulder piece, shoulder armor in place like that. That's nice. Yes, it's nice. Shoulder armor. Very nice. Okay. And then this goes in there. Pop. Snap. Snap. What a satisfying little click that is. Okay, and then we got this little doodad. Any particular thing I gotta pay attention to? I don't think so. It's just gonna go in place. Yeah, it just goes in the bottom there. And then the hand, which I did have somebody on my Instagram messaged me and said, yo, easy kit. You know, it's not as challenging or as intimidating once you get into it as you may feel like it is. I appreciate that encouragement. They said, look out for the hands. They are a weak point in this kit. Thank you for the tip. Because I feel like that's pretty consistent around a lot of Gundam kits, as the hands are usually pretty crummy. They just get loose really easily, and they fall apart easily. So that's okay, though. We'll make do. And based on the scene that is going to be going on here, and the way it's going to wind up ultimately looking, I may be 3D printing different hands anyways. Either 3D printing or buying. I don't know. Maybe I already have some. I don't know. That is a weird looking hand, though, let me tell you. I guess maybe it's just the way that the fingers curve. I feel like that's strange. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's not so strange, but I may be printing some more hands because he's going to have his hand open because he's going to catch himself when he falls. And that hand's not going to work for that, but that's okay. That's okay. That's why we do this. This is all part of the process. Right? You find the things in the kit that aren't going to work. So how can we resolve that? Well, I have a 3D printer. And we can 3D print some hands. Here we are. Check it out. There's his arm. Pretty cool. Not completely done yet. We still have some parts left, right? So let's keep moving. All right, we have, this is the shield. This is, I'm sorry, Bandai, but this is just pitiful. This whole surface, not a panel line to be found. That's going to have to be rectified because that's the most boring shoulder shield I've ever seen. Even the bottom side has more interesting things than that, even though it's not very interesting. All the effort, all the cool detail in this kit. And that's the thing we miss. Well, I guess you can't have everything, huh? Can't. It just doesn't work that way. Is that right? Am I doing it? Oh, yes, I think I did it right. Oh, okay. So that's a little boost. That's a little, I see. It's a little rocket booster. That's what those are. Okay. That makes some sense to me. Those go in place. Make sure that they're all where they need to be. Hang on, I gotta take care of something here. Boom, 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 boom. Do, 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 do. Do, do, do. Okay, that's fine. Then I should be good. Okay. This clips in here. Trying to keep my hands back in front of the camera this time. I'm trying to do better. Do better, Ben. Do better. Trying. Jeez. You got those little rockets there. These little rockets go on the side here. Ooh. Tight fit. Those are wimpy looking. Guys, these are wimpy looking rockets. We're going to have to, maybe we replace these with something else. Maybe. Like, okay, I get it. I think those are rockets. I think those are boosters, right? Help move the shield when the shield needs to move. But those look weak, don't they? I mean, all the cool stuff in this kit, and these things are like, who knows? Maybe I keep them that way. Maybe question about whether is juice worth the squeeze? Is it worth it to put time and effort into those pieces, or the rest of the kit? I don't know. I don't know, folks. That's okay. We will find out. We'll be making those decisions soon enough. Sort of like that. It's a little attachment point. Okay. Look, I was just talking about keeping it in front of the camera, and I probably messed that up. That goes on there. Slides back in. And now we take our lower arm, pop it in here. And what we're going to get from this is just an incredible amount of articulation. Like, I love this. Right, this is pretty cool. So this, it can swing independently, right, of the arm. It can move in multiple different directions and do all sorts of cool stuff here. has a pretty wide range of motion, which I really love. Even though most of the time you see it just down, right? But that's cool. That's cool. I dig it. And that's it. Right arm complete. So we have our torso. We have our head. And we have a right arm. We have a Psycho Zaku in the works. He's coming along. All right. Let's move on. Because we can. We got time. We got plenty of time. Yes, I have to work tomorrow. But, you know what? That's okay. I can still spend some extra time tonight. I can spend some extra time hanging out with you all. Although I don't think I have any viewers at the moment. But that's okay. Hanging out with my camera, my computer, talking to myself. Which is always a fun thing to do. I hear squeaking, and I don't know what it is. I think it's the neighbor's air conditioner outside. I don't know. Our little workshop room here is on the side of the house, only about this window that you can't see is maybe 10, 12 feet from the neighbor's air conditioning unit. And I can hear it when it's running. You may not be able to hear it. It may be pretty quiet to the person who's not sitting in the room, but I can hear it. I know what's going. And ooh, this one's got some itty bitty bits. It's just one of those weird, strange squeaking going on. Oh my, these are tiny bits. Tiny bits. Look at these little things. Ooh. 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 I'm having a hard time just getting them out. Oh my goodness. Look at this little tiny thing. What? Yeah, a little tiny bit. That is an easy part to lose. We've got to be careful about that one because those would be easy to misplace. All right. Left arm. A lot of this is going to be the same as the other arm, right? Oh, look, that piece got stuck in there. A lot of it's going to be the same. Very similar, no doubt. But different still. Take a drink. All right. Let's go. Let's see. I remember which pieces I used on the last one. This piece. That was one of them, for sure. And this little square doodad. Okay, there we are. That fits in there. Like a lot. Like a glove. And then we have this piece. Which is gonna... Oh, no, that's not the one I want. I want the other side. That's this one. Okay. Boom. That goes in there. Fits in like that. Bottom piece is this one. And it's going to go in like that. And then we're going to tap this part in here. There we are. Boom. Okay. It is a good practice to check the articulation as you go. You might put something on backwards, and then you don't find out until you're done. And it's a bummer because you got to take the whole thing apart, which is not a huge deal, but certainly gets in the way of your flow if you're grooving and just cooking. looking good. The gauntlets. Are your kids done with school? I think I mentioned it earlier. My son had his last days. It's pretty awesome. Pretty exciting. Okay, these two pieces. This guy goes here. And that means we gotta find stuff for him to do to keep him busy this summer. So, oops. That's okay. No worries. No worries. We got this. We just attach that one. And then go to get this piece back. And then we attach this one. Boom. Snap. There it is. There it is. Again, we're going to bypass the little plastic tubies, little dust covers, just for now. Right? It's not a permanent bypass. We are just doing it at the moment because we don't want to have to worry about accidentally messing it up. These are interesting because they feel like they want to go on a different way. And that is, again, that's really tight. So, yeah, there's going to need to be some sanding going on in that before we get to paint. Otherwise, we're going to have a heck of a time getting that off. Back on once it's got layer primer and paint. Yeah. You know what's really fun about this competition, GWCC, is I don't have any grand illusions that I'm not walking into this going, oh, I'm gonna win. I've got this in the bag, right? I've seen the work that some of these other people are doing, and it's phenomenal, and I'm really excited to see where it goes. But what I'm excited about is the community side of this. Like, these are other people in the same space that my hobby is in. And so it's cool to not only get to compete with them, but to also interact with them and to see what they're working on and to have them see what I'm working on and to be able to comment on each other's work. And, you know, it's just sort of continue to build that Gunpla community, which I feel like, I mean, I've had a lot of hobbies. In fact, my wife would tell you I've had way too many hobbies in my life. And this is actually one of the longer ones. I've been doing Gunpla stuff for a few years now. Granted, different levels of intensity along the way, but that's okay. But I'll tell you what, I mean, yeah, there's trolls in our Gunpla community. There always are. I think we're always going to have trolls somewhere, you know. For whatever reason, unfortunately, some people just are all about giving people a hard time. And as much as I dislike that, it's just reality. But I feel like, in general, the Gunpla community, the community of builders and people that love this hobby are really into community and helping each other out and not being complete tools when it comes to you know what we're doing and what other people are doing. And like, it's just nice to see a community gather around each other and enjoy each other's work. And like I said, there's always going to be a tool out there. There's always going to be somebody who's just a troll and just is not a nice person. And that's sad. And it's unfortunate. And but I feel like our community is a pretty good community where you don't see too much, not too incredibly much of that. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and you are absolutely free to be wrong. And so am I. I can absolutely be wrong. It's okay. And you could be too. And that's what makes being human, right? We all have something. We all have challenges. We all have hang-ups. We all have things that we struggle with. And there's commonality in that. And God created us in an amazing way where those things are present. And that is okay. There's a second hand. Again, I don't feel like I really like this hand. Chances are, if this is all it's got for hands, I'm going to have to do something else, because these hands are not going to quite fit the motif of the diorama that's going to happen. The mayhem that is going to occur will not work out so well if all he has is a fist. I mean, I guess he could catch himself on his knuckles, but that would be a total bummer. I don't, you know. Hey, it looks like somebody else is watching. If you'd like, throw something in the chat. I am all about seeing if somebody actually is actually watching this stuff. So I'm building this Psycho Zaku, Master Grade Psycho Zaku, for the Gaahleri Creators World Cup, or World Creators Cup competition. And this is the very beginning stages of this. So this is my initial snap build of the Psycho Zaku. And as we go along, I will be identifying different areas where we're going to make improvements. We're going to do some customization and make this thing look really sick. Right. I do like this shoulder, let me tell you. This design is cool, no matter what. Like, it's a really neat design. But this shoulder piece is, of all the Zaku models out there, by far the coolest, I think. Somebody may disagree with me on that. I gotta figure out how this is lined up. But it is by far the coolest, I think. And it's because of details like this shoulder. And you'll see in a moment what I'm talking about. Because a normal Zaku shoulder, okay, is like this. This is a high grade one, right? So this is your normal Zaku shoulder. Got the spikes. It's okay. That's cool. Looks a little bit like we were watching the Super Mario movie this weekend. Looks a little bit like a what do they call those things? I don't even know what these characters are called in the movie, or well, in the Mario world. But the little toads have the spikes. But anyways, so you'll see with this one, it's really cool once we get it going here. See how this goes. Is this how this goes? Yep, I think it's supposed to go like that. Oh, okay, it's got indents to make sure we index it correctly and put it in correctly. Boom, there we are, just like that. Okay, so that's cool. All right, looking all right. I know you're saying, Ben, that's not as cool as you said it was. Hang on. Patience, please. We gotta get there. Now we take these other details. And see, some models, this would just be a decal, right? And maybe you thought when you saw this model kit in the store, maybe you thought this was a decal. I probably put that on the wrong side. No, I tell you it is not, my friend. These are plastic pieces that are separate, which means the color separation in this spot is super cool, because when I go to paint it, I'll paint these parts separate and they'll pop in there and it will just be pristine and clean, and I don't have to mask it and do all that. It's really nice when they're actually separate pieces. Okay, so here's where these little silly rockets come in. Oh dear lordy, these things are so small. Okay, so it's these little guys here, and they each go in their respective holes. And we go, boom, right there he is, that little rocket booster. Okay, there's probably a different name for those parts. Most likely there's a different name for those parts. All right, check it out. Boom, there we are. Hey, if someone's actually watching this, you should comment in the chat or share it with some people. Bring other people into this party so we can all feel crazy together. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Right, there's more. There's more. I can't lose these pieces. Now, when I go to do the paint job on this, I have never done a custom paint on the rockets. I've painted them to look like metal, but I have not painted them to look like they've been burned. You know what I mean? Like, these thrusters would immediately, with the temperature of flame coming out of them, they're going to immediately discolor if you're actually firing them, right? And so, while it's all nice and dandy to have them be the stock colors, I am, on this kit, I'm going to, for the first time, I'm going to try doing the gradient look. And with that, it's going to be like, you start with your base color, which will be the thruster color. And then I think I'm going to use Kaleido's clear colors for this. I'm going to try it because they have some clears. If you didn't know that, Kaleido Colorworks has clear paints, transparent, translucent. I don't know what word they use, but you get like the blue and the red and the yellow translucent colors, and then you can do a gradient on these things where the tip of them is a different color than the inside. Now, I will be, totally honest with you. Like, those are so tiny, I may struggle to paint that, but I really want to. I've got some lines here that are going to have to be removed because they are ugly. Like this line right there. Super ugly, but we'll take care of that. We got it. We will take care of that. All right, so now, my friends, we've got the thrusters in. Now we get to the cones. And sometimes you can buy little metal cones to go in this. There's an entire accessory kit that can go with this that has metal cones, metal spikes, and metal thrusters. And while that's cool, this part of this competition is painting, right? And so I feel like instead of buying the metal, I should probably just paint them to make them look awesome. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to paint them. And they're going to look cool. Just saying. Pop. All right, check that out. Now, isn't that cool? Like, where'd that other one go? Okay. Granted, this one's smaller, right? Because it's a high grade. Okay. So maybe we'll get a scale here. compare this one with that one. No, never mind. That's silly. This looks cool, but boy, this just looks so much cooler, right? Those spikes are ridiculous, and the extra detail, the little blower or the little thrusters, it's just silly. I mean, it's so cool. Such a neat kit aspect that you know, just one of those things. Like, that's a nice little extra detail. Thank you, Bandai. I really appreciate that. Okay, let's go with the short. I also appreciate your instructions, Bandai, because they were very clear about which piece goes where on this attachment point. Okay, that goes there. And this goes in here. There we go. Check that out. Boom. Pretty sweet. Okay, now how does it fit in there? Okay. Okay. We tilt this. Maybe. Yeah. I'm gonna tilt that. And we attach it in there. Okay. And then this goes snap right in place. All right, so here we are. Here we are, my friends. This is the left arm. Check that guy out. Sick. That's so cool. And this, because of the way they designed that mount, also has various layers of, or various ways that it can twist and turn as it's mounted on there. So depending on how you pose this dude, it's gonna be cool. Oh man, that's so cool. It's a lot of fun. I love this. This kit. Okay, I'm sort of sad that I didn't build this sooner. Although I'm glad I didn't build it sooner, because it wouldn't be able to be used for this competition if I had built it sooner. So, I mean, I guess I'll have to have mixed emotions about this guy. But, anyways. Arms. Head. Torso. Okay. That's the upper body. The upper body is done. What can I say? Cheers. Hope you have a Coke Zero. Probably not the best thing to drink at 10:20 at night. Who needs sleep anyways, right? Okay. We're moving on. We have been streaming for about 45 minutes. We've got plenty of time. Let's see. Legs. Lugs. We've got legs, guys. Legs. That's what's next. And, anybody want to arm wrestle? There we go. Okay. Legs. So the legs are interesting. There's like a central component to the legs that we build 2 of them. And then we build the rest of the leg around those central components. And those are then different based on whether it's the right or the left leg. So we're going to do the first component now. We may get the legs done tonight. These are the feet. Parts for the Pete's. Just so you know, farts for the Pete's. That's what 10:30 at night does to me. But parts for the feet. Here we go. You probably don't hear him. I don't think my microphone is sensitive enough to pick it up, but my little Boston Terrier is laying down in his little cozy spot over, I don't know, he's probably 5 or 6 feet from me. And he snores like terribly. If you don't have a Boston Terrier, if you've never seen one or never had one, They are the cutest stinking dogs. I mean, like, they are just adorable. And he's no exception, and I'm not partial. Yes, I am. I might be a little bit biased because he's my dog. But he's just the cutest and sweetest little guy. He's also a total pain in the neck sometimes. But isn't that the way life works? Sometimes that's just the way things work. That's okay. That's a-okay, folks. Here's where we're moving to. Step 7. Leg. Well, step 6. Right leg, left leg. So when you build these kits, sometimes they're going to have ×2, which means that you've got double to build. You got 2 of them to build. And that's often because, you know, your feet might be the same. You got the same parts for your feet. And you know what? That's so silly. I only cut out one of the feet. That piece right there. I need 2 of those. I need 2 of those and 2 of these. And I've only got 1 right here. And I think, hold please, I believe it's because I just didn't trim it out of the runner. What was that? C and H. Let me see. You can't see me, but I am still here. I'm just off the camera. Looking at my extra runners. So when I trim out all my pieces, there's C. When I trim out all the pieces, any runners that have leftover parts I keep, right? Because it is entirely likely, as I am proving right now, that I miss something when I trim things out. And so because I know that's going to happen, I don't get rid of anything that's got leftover parts in it, because I could be shooting myself in the foot if I did that. Here are the parts that I was missing. Okay, so we're going to nip them out. Let's just take care of this situation right now. All right, so nip from the runner. That runner is now empty. That makes sense. I'm just going to throw it there on the floor and pick it up in a minute in a little bit when I'm done. H22, that's this one. This one, see, this one has a lot of extra parts. That's normal, or well, relatively normal, for them to have extra parts. Although, it could also be that I accidentally didn't cut out the ones that I was supposed to. That's entirely possible. Okay, now I get my good nippers. And then I'm going to just nip the nubs. Nip the nubs. Clip them off. Super easy. Again, I don't have to be super, I don't have to be super, you know, OCD about the nub marks with these, because I'm only gonna, with nub marks, I want to make sure that I can, you know, it's gonna look good, and whatever I'm gonna expose in the model, in the final product, that's what I'm gonna pay attention to. So I don't put a ton of effort into it, because if I spent 5 minutes per part, or I mean, this thing has thousands of pieces, like, well, maybe not thousands, hundreds of pieces, maybe 1,000 pieces. And if I spent a minute per piece, it would take me flipping forever just to trim the pieces. And I know some purists who would be like, Yeah, but you have to, because you have to know that they're all taken care of. Do I? Do I really? No, I don't. This is where my perfectionism is started to go away. I am a recovering perfectionist. That's got a tight fit. I'm gonna have to resolve that. Okay, hang on. I am a recovering perfectionist. And I'm not lying. I'm not joking about this. I am a perfectionist. So much so that I will not start things if I think that I can't do them perfectly. Anybody else like that? And it's not good. Let me tell you, it's not good. It's not a great way to live, and it has bit me in work. It has definitely bit me in home. It's I'm also very competitive. I may not seem like it, especially when I say something like, I don't have, grand illusions that I'm going to win this competition. Like, would I like to win the competition? Yeah, duh. But me entering the competition, simply entering, is a step in the right direction. Because there has been a time in my life when I wouldn't enter the competition if I didn't think that I could win it. That's right. That's how competitive I am. I would literally avoid taking the step and doing the fun thing and just getting in the competition. I've never done this before, guys. I mean, I've built these models and done, but I've never done the competition before. Notice how on that I have mangled those pieces. That's okay. Nobody's going to see it. And all it's going to do is later on down the road, when I have to separate these, see how easily that went together? When I have to separate them, I'm not going to have to fight with this part to get it apart. Okay. But in my past life, I would literally keep from doing things because I didn't think I could do it perfectly. And man, what a terrible way to live. And so I am a recovering perfectionist. And this hobby has helped me a lot. In fact, I've had kits where, in talking to one of my therapists, that's right, I see a therapist. I have told her about, she knows about this hobby and the kits and stuff, and we've talked about it. And there have been times where I was struggling with something, and she literally said, okay, let's talk about this, whatever you're working on right now. Like, what's the biggest problem that you have with it, and what don't you like the most? And I would tell her, and she would say, okay, leave it. That specific thing, the thing that you have the most issue with, and you hate the most, leave it. Leave it in there. Don't fix it. Just leave it. And I was like, you've got to be freaking kidding me. What? Why would I want to leave it? Why would I want to do that? And but now I'm so glad I have. I'm so glad I've learned to start to do this, because the reality is that things don't have to be perfect, guys. Every kit I do has an error somewhere in it. Without question. This is cool. This is a little hydraulic piston. This is the outer shell for this hydraulic piston, and it has a lot of articulation. That's cool. But the reality is, every kit has an imperfection. My Victory 2, the last kit that I finished, it had I broke a part of the shoulder armor. And I was like, when it happened, I was really frustrated with it. And I had put that kit down for months and hadn't done anything with it. And then when I picked it back up again, I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. Dang. And you know what? It was fine. I know it's there. If you look closely, you can see it. You can see the imperfection. I thought I fixed it, and then I did the paint, and then I went to put the part back together at the very final assembly, and it broke again. Post paint, I mean, like, it looked perfect. You couldn't tell it was broken, and then it broke when I was putting it back together. There was a point in my life where I would have just not finished the kit. I would have been like, I'm done. And I did it. I put super glue on that bad boy, and I just said, boom, you're done. You're done. Super gluing you. And, you know, if you look on it, you can see that little failure. You can see that little guy, the problems that he has. That's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So, moral of the story. I don't remember how I got on all that tirade, but the moral of the story is every kit has imperfections. My F91, I broke the shield. The piston in the shield, I snapped it on final assembly. And so now you cannot do the shield. You can't extend, the thing extends out. And I mean, you could, but you're not getting it back in. It's going to come out. It's going to be broken. But nobody sees it, right? I know that it's broken. I just pretend like it's supposed to be posed that way without the shield. All that work I put in that F91. And then I had that problem. But you know what? That is okay. This is what this hobby for me has been about, is working through things, working past my hang-ups, my problems, and becoming a better person. There we go. We'll put this thruster on the bottom. That by itself is super boring, but once we paint it, it's gonna look cool. It's gonna look really freaking cool, let me tell you. Okay. What we got now? So we got, notice I'm working in tandem here. I got the feet that I'm putting together first, and it's working out. Okay, we got this going on. Okay, so we snap this piece in here. Ooh, that snapped nice. Such a satisfying click. And this piece goes here. Yeah. Boom. Like that. Check that out. Okay, so that then closes when he needs to stand on something, but when he's flying, it opens up. I think it's supposed to be like there's a rocket in there or a booster or something. At least that's what it looks like in the pictures. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, so that goes on here. Nice, very nice. They're working on the live action movie for Gundam, and I really hope it's a good movie. I hope it is. I will be honest with you, I am not a Gundam lore snob. Not at all. I don't know a lot of the Gundam lore. I'm not super knowledgeable about Gundam lore. I go to the build nights with the with my build group, and I am, there are times they get in these conversations and I'm lost. I'm just over here building a mech suit, guys. I have no idea what these people are talking about, and that's fine. It's actually sort of endearing, about some of them and how much they know. They're like a walking encyclopedia, Gundam encyclopedia. That's not me, right? I got into this hobby because I wanted to build stuff with my kid. And I thought, hey, we should find a model car or model airplanes to build. And we walk into the hobby store and there's dragons and what I now know is Kamen Riders and Gundam. And I'm like, what are these? What the heck is this stuff? And it was such a great change in my life. And so that's how I got into this. But I'm not super knowledgeable on this stuff. I will tell you that what are we doing here? I will tell you that the thing I have been saddened by in the Gundam community, and I'll be real honest with you here. Okay, can I be real? It's 10:40 at night. If you're watching this, or if you're watching it later, and you've actually made it through my ramblings, then I'm, hopefully you'll stick around for this one. What has saddened me about Gundam is that there is a limited amount, I should say, of Gundam material, movies, anime, things like that I feel comfortable taking my 11-year-old son to go see or watching with him on TV. We've watched a couple different things, but there are so many with just gratuitous things like you don't need all that nudity. You don't need nudity. You don't need the language thing it's a thing, right? And it's just the way that the world is, especially in the movie industry and stuff. There's a little booger doesn't want to go in right. But nudity, things like that. Like, why do we need that in the anime world, guys? Guys, why do we need it? I understand that it draws a crowd. I get that. But we don't need it. And the reality is those things shape people's minds. Oh, I did it wrong. Oops. You're supposed to put one in, the correct one in first, and then the other one. I think that's what I'm doing wrong. See? Maybe follow the directions. It literally says that right here on paper. But like that kind of stuff, just it does have an effect on people's minds, without a doubt. And I'm a man of faith. I believe in God heavily, and he speaks about it all the time in the Bible about purity and watching your eyes and guarding your heart. And there's a lot of material. There's a lot of things that I've seen in the Gundam world that I'm like, well, I'm not watching the rest of that because it's just too salacious, right? And I know there's people that are going to disagree with me on that front, and that is 100% fine. I get it. But I'm really hoping that the new movie is family friendly, right? I really am, because I would love to take my son to go see it in the movie theater. I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to be appropriate like that. I don't know if it's going to be something that I'm going to be comfortable taking him to go see. But that is, something I would like to be able to do. Yeah, check out the detail on this. It's got little pistons in here. Right, so yeah, I think that's something that, I feel like I want to be able to provide a little bit of reprieve, right? Look, I know, I mean, I work in professional business. I hear foul language all the time. It's whatever. I don't speak that way myself. And which is okay, right? That's a little hydraulic interior piston. Those will be chromed out when we get to that phase of the project. And so I see things and I hear things, and that's fine. And I know, I'll hear people say, well, oh, your kids are going to hear those words anyways, with cursing, foul language. And I agree. I acknowledge, yes, you're right. They are going to hear that. That's absolutely true. But that doesn't mean that I need to be the one to expose them to that. It doesn't mean that I need to be the one to put it in front of them and say, hey, put this in your brain, right? I would rather not. I'd rather teach them to use intelligent words to describe themselves, describe how they're feeling. Use words that actually describe their feelings rather than profanity. And, I'm also not going to come down on top of people because they're speaking with profanity, because I understand. And look, I'm not, I have, in my life, I have had times where I used a lot of profanity. It's just, at this point in my life, I don't need to. But I want to create space where people can enjoy this hobby and not be subject to vulgarity, profanity, sexual content, like things like that. Because I don't think it's necessary, right? I enjoy this hobby. I love this hobby, actually. I really love it, and I enjoy building these kits. And I can do it without all of that, right? So I think it's important. All that to say, I really just hope that the new movie is one that I will feel comfortable being able to take my son to. Because it would be a blast to do so. There have been a few of the animes that I'm like, oh yeah, I'll check that out. I start watching. I'm like, never mind. Never mind. I went down a path that I did not want to go down. All right. Here we go. All right, so now what we're doing is we're making the ankle. It's not like any ankle you've ever seen before, is it? It's definitely not. It's a cankle. It's an ankle. That's for sure. Okay, here we go. This goes there. This goes here. Pops right in there. Single piston goes in the front. Again, these are going to be so much fun once they get painted up. They get paint it up. It's going to be cool. Cool. Because these pistons be chrome. I don't know what color I'm going to do the outer piston, the outer part. Maybe red or something. I like to have that contrast. So now the question is, how well do they slide? These are good. Oh, this is great. Some of my other kits, these have not slid well. And then you sort of fight them, especially once you paint them. So the double ones, we might have to sand a little bit. That's fine. This front one is pretty loose, so that's good. That's really good. But once you put the chrome coating on, a little bit of primer and chrome coating can really stiffen that up, and I don't want that, right? So we're gonna make sure to take caution with that when we paint, but it's gonna be cool. All right, so here you have it. This is the foot and the ankle, and the cool thing is when you bend that, right, it's got some nice movement here, but when this foot moves, look at that, when the ankle moves, so see how the piston moves out, that front piston? When you move forward, that back piston moves out. I mean, what a cool detail that is. Like, what a neat, oh, I just love this kind of stuff. Right? Like, it just makes the kit, dude. That's so fun. I love it. Love it. Okay, oh wait, one last piece. This last piece. It's gonna go right up front. Is that where they're gonna? It's like a little slot in there. I don't know. Oh yeah, you can see it. Right in there. There's a slot right there in that plastic piece. But there's no slot in this part, so I'm gonna assume that it doesn't need to worry. I don't need to worry about that. But I think that's where this goes. Yeah, that's right. I feel like that is a movement restricting piece right here, my friends. Okay. I mean, yeah. Okay. Might not be so bad. It definitely limits its frontward movement. But maybe that's intentional. I don't know. I just don't know. Okay, click that in. Oh no. There we go. Okay. Pretty cool. I like it. I like it a lot. All right, so here's the deal. Guys. If I feel like this is gonna stop the frontward movement and restrict positioning of the foot, I may do some customization where we trim this piece down, right, where we just cut something off, and that will help give it some extra space to move. I'm not, I'm just idea farming at the moment. Like, I don't know. I won't know until this whole thing's together and we play with it and we see how can we position this, because that's what's gonna really make that decision for us. Which is totally fine. Look at those kicks. Check it out. It's like, should we put a swoosh on them? Nike swoosh? Wouldn't that be funny? Maybe not. I mean, it would be funny, but maybe it doesn't fit in this realm of what we're doing. So, okay. Feet, arms, torso, head. What's next? It is 10:52. We got some more in us. We can keep going. Guys, you don't need to sleep. I don't need to sleep. We're just going to be fine. We're going to be fine. But my phone is indeed going to die. So, hang on. Pause. I need to get my Be Right Back screen working. But for now, it doesn't work. And so you're just going to have to pause. Sorry about that, guys. Literally walking through the house all the way upstairs to go get my charger. What we got? I mean, I don't really need my phone. I don't know who's watching, if anybody's watching. It says I have a watcher, a viewer. So, nobody's chatted. So, it's not like it's utterly required to have my phone with me. But at the moment, that is how I'm watching my chat. And I meant to get my charger before I started, but I didn't. Okay. All these body parts done. Next, this is exciting. I'm really excited for the legs. I really am. Because I feel like there's just some masterpiece work done in the design of these legs. So I'm excited to do the legs. And I'll tell you a little bit about part of our story here. Right, so I told you that we voted, well, the community voted on the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day theme for this build. Which means I have to figure out a way to embody that ideology or idea in a Gundam. What would that look like for a Gundam to have a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day? And, you know, you can go a lot of different directions. You could make it 100% lore relevant and try to keep it completely within lore. You can go completely off the reservation and do something totally wacky, which is actually what I'm inclined to do personally. Going back to the whole, like, I'm not a lore snob. Like, I enjoy learning about the things. I enjoy the shows when there's not gratuitous nudity or whatever. I enjoy learning those things, but at the same time, I'm here to have fun. And so, you know, painting a Zaku like a teddy bear actually sort of sounds like fun, right? And so, oh, that's little tiny pieces. There. And so for me, like us taking on this challenge of terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. I mean, it could be any number of things that cause that for this poor pilot in his Gundam, or in his mobile suit. And so I'm excited to suss that out, if you want to call it that. But now that it's been voted that we are doing the pilot is, or the paint scheme that goes along with the pilot is playing for the other team, right? So what that means is we have a situation in our metaverse, if you want to call it that, in this alternate universe, which, if you don't know much about the Gundam world, alternate universes are all over the place. There's different storylines, different universes all over the place. And so in our metaverse, our reality of the way things are, we have, oh man, I gotta find these parts. So in our reality, we have a situation where we have a pilot who has I know I saw this piece. It's a polycap. I know. I trimmed it out. I know for sure that I did. Hang on. But we have a pilot who is in a second Psycho Zaku. So we have Daryl Lawrence, who's up in space, fighting Thunderbolt, fighting the ARCs. What is it? ARC 72, or the guy, I forget. Thunderbolt Gundam. He's fighting him, and that's not what I was thinking. And so he's up in space. He's fighting the battles that are going on out there. He's taking out gyms like nobody's business. And he has been doing a good job, but they decided they need some more help, right? Because we're getting close to the end of the 1 year war, guys, and they pulling out all the stops. So it turns out they've created a second Psycho Zaku, and the idea is they have a base on Earth. Can you believe it? They have a secret base on Earth that they have managed to keep a secret. And somehow they got that Psycho Zaku down there, down to the second one, down to the base on Earth. They were both in the same. See, look at that. They got it. They got the other suit down to the Earth base, and here we are on the Earth base with the Psycho Zaku. Now, if you know anything about the storyline, everything that's happened with Daryl Lawrence and the Living Dead division, who created the Psycho Zaku, the P device, right? It's all developed in space, anti-gravity, right? Well, now they've gone on Earth. Part of the plan is you take the Psycho Zaku there. We're going to disguise it as an Earth Federation suit. And we're going to try to trick them by thinking that they captured Zaku and are now repurposing it. But that's not really what happened. We're actually going to go attack them, right? So that's the idea. But we're also doing this on Earth, which is unusual for us because we're used to a zero gravity environment, right? So what happens, and you're going to preview, you might be the first person to hear this alternate storyline that is not completely flushed out yet. I will admit it's not complete. However, this is where it's going in my brain, which is not saying much. But the plan is to, in maintenance down on Earth, paint this guy to look like Earth Federation, and subsequently go attack the Federation from their own shorelines, right? Well, we get it down there. We got the Zaku. The mechanics disconnect one of the legs because they've got some repairs to make. And especially reconfiguring some components so that they work properly in a gravity environment, right? Remember, this guy was designed to be working in space where he doesn't have to deal with gravity. And so the thruster systems are different. The mechanical systems have to work differently because you have gravity you have to contend with now. And so they're just doing their thing, their maintenance stuff. Well, one of the mechanics gets in the mobile suit and goes to make an adjustment and does something very wrong, causing the Gundam to shift while the leg is disconnected. In space, this would not be a big deal. Nobody would care because it's just going to float. But what happens on Earth? Gravity hits. And the Gundam winds up falling over, and we wind up with a major issue because the Gundam has now fallen over. But when he falls, he catches himself. But he doesn't just catch himself on something on the side. He doesn't just catch himself on some random thing. He accidentally catches himself on a truck, on a trailer, in fact, that happens to be carrying his fuel cells. And so he comes down and he lands and he catches himself on top of the fuel cells, crushing the fuel cells in the process. And you can only imagine what's going to happen next. Who knows? Probably some kind of explosion because he just crushed fuel cells. So that's the storyline. So that's what we're making, guys. So it's going to be like a diorama. It's going to be in a maintenance bay. And the vision is that we have a leg from the Zaku standing up where it was and where it was being worked on. And we're going to have some mechanics there. They're doing some work. So some panels will be removed. And then we'll probably have some other panels over somewhere else in the bay that are being painted by other mechanics. But in our scene, the Zaku will have fallen and crushed his fuel cells. And that's the diorama that we're making. That's the story. That's the epic adventure that we're on, folks. You're the first to hear it. Don't you feel special? You should, because I have not shared that with anybody. It's top secret. And since there's only one person watching, there's literally one other person in the world that knows this storyline. Again, this is not fully vetted, so please do not hold me to it if I don't do something. Because I may have to change all or part of the story, right? Like that. That's certainly subject to change as we go forward. However, that is highly likely to be what we land on. Okay. So this is the inner leg. Again, this stuff is going to be covered by these dust sleeves. And dust sleeves, they'll protect it. Make sure it doesn't get dirty. But for now, we're skipping the dust sleeves. Why? Because we'll go sleeveless. We want to skip the dust sleeves because ultimately we will put them on a final assembly so we don't mess them up. Because that's the last thing I want to do is mess up the dust sleeves in the process of assembling and deassembling this kit. All right, so here, this is the lower leg. All right, pretty cool looking. It's gonna get cooler as we go. So that's the storyline. That's the storyline as we have created it to be. And it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. I hope people appreciate it. I think it's fun. Okay, so here's this piece. That piece goes here. There we go. Okay. Here we are. There we go. That's the thigh. Now let's see. That is some really terrible articulation there, to be quite honest with you. I mean, that's the most bend you're going to get out of this guy. It's not going to be crazy. That's unfortunate, folks. It's unfortunate. Why is that unfortunate? Because I like to see a lot more articulation than that. But I'll take it. It's okay. Life will go on. Okay, where are we? What are we doing here? That's a weird part. Okay, I think it goes on like this. Yeah, that's how it goes. That's actually where the side tube, the hydraulic tube, is going to attach. If you've never seen that before, I will show you in a moment. This goes on the other side. This does not have the hole because there's no hydraulic tube on the inside. Outside of the leg has a hydraulic tube connecting the top thigh portion to the bottom. I think it's a hydraulic tube. I could be completely wrong. Maybe it's not a hydraulic. Maybe it's some other weird thing. I don't really know. It's a tube that delivers something from the upper leg to the lower leg. A delivery tube. Maybe it's oxygen. I don't know. So here's the armor going on. Check it out. Armor. Okay. We got our thigh armor in place. And now take these pieces. This piece gets this guy. Like that. If that looks correct. And now this piece goes in there. Yeah, that's sending things flying. Here we go. All right, so this piece plugs in there. This is our thigh joint. Okay, this is the hip bone. The hip bone for the Zaku. Right, so there's the hip bone. Oh, you can't see that. My bad. Hip bone. Okay. Next, please. These little guys. Go there. Nice. This guy goes here. I mean, this is only a couple times that I've streamed. I'm going to reset my cameras. So I 3D print things, and there's a Kickstarter for a very versatile mount system type thing that has various types of mounts and stuff. Is that correct? I feel like I did something wrong there. No? Maybe that's right. It just looks weird. What I'm thinking here is, so this little slot right there, that slot is where this piece is supposed to slot in. You can't see this. There. Those little teeth-looking things, and oh man, it's hard to see. I need a light over on that side pointing in. But that's supposed to like seat, but then it leaves a gap, which feels weird. Like, and then like this, look, right here, the angle of this piece doesn't match the angle of the piece behind it. So maybe that's not going to be an issue, but it annoys me when I look at it. We'll see. Let's see how it turns out. I just feel like it looks poorly done. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, so I did this Kickstarter for this mount thing. And so essentially, I paid $15 to be part of the Kickstarter. I got in on the early bird. I've never done Kickstarter before. So, for $15, it wasn't a huge waste. But it's a pretty cool looking mount system type thing. And I was looking at different types of camera mounts, light mounts, things like that. And man, some of that stuff is expensive. And I always feel like maybe it's not going to work for what I need. And so, there we go. Little thrusters in the knee. So I thought, $15 is what I paid into the Kickstarter. And it just finished. And they exceeded their goals, which is really great to hear. And so they've got all sorts of different types of camera mounts and monitor mounts and all sorts of things. And so within the next couple of weeks, I should be getting files. Ooh, that's a cool thruster. That's going to be so cool when I paint it up. All sorts of files that I should be getting with that release. That's going to be cool. I'm excited. I'm actually really excited about that because I want to change how my cameras are mounted. Like that one is mounted right now. It's literally sitting on my laptop. It's not my laptop camera. It's another camera on top of my laptop. And I don't know. I might change that somewhere else. And then this camera, my working camera, I sort of want to try a straight down view. I don't know. I like this view. It's pretty cool. Maybe I'll try that for a while and try the, straight down. But right now it's precariously mounted. And so I don't dare breathe on the thing because I feel like it's going to fall over. So one of these days I'm going to get that situation all straightened out. And then hopefully have some better shots and get better at doing the work on the camera within the line of the camera, line of sight. Because it's really annoying when I watch people and I'm like, I can't see a thing that you're doing. And so I'm sure that's annoying to you as well if I do the same. Okay. Let's see here. We've got this little golden piece. It's gonna go in there like that. Okay. Pretty cool. All right. What are we doing? I gotta find the right piece. Which piece is this? It's this one. There it goes. Top. Yep, that's right. You know, as I think about the storyline that I've created in my mind, goes back to my whole perfectionist issue. Like, I'm sort of struggling a little bit in that thought process of that storyline. Like, I'm gonna just go for it. Like, that's just gonna be what it is. But I like, part of me hesitates because I feel like people are gonna look at that idea, or they're gonna listen to that storyline, and they're gonna go, well, that's so stupid. That would not happen in the lore of Gundam and in the lore of Thunderbolt, right? And I shouldn't care. I should be like, yeah, so what? It's what I wanted it to be, right? But we all know how that goes. You do care. You want people to like it. You want people to enjoy it and think it's cool and all that good stuff. And so I'm really just trying to, like, in my mind, just be like, yeah, that's what it is. Oh, boo. If somebody doesn't like it, too bad. Because the reality is, somebody's not gonna like it. That's just the truth. Somebody's gonna be like, some super purist is gonna be like, that would never happen. No. And the universe is like, you're the one you are, blah, 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 blah. There's this reason and that reason and all these other reasons why that would never occur. I'd be like, yo, you're not in my metaverse. In my metaverse, you would not be talking. Boom. Done, son. All right. This goes up front. This piece goes up front. Oh. Somewhere. Oh. Boom. That goofiness. Well, whatever I just did resolved the goofiness in that one piece. So it just snapped really funky, and that piece is now aligned. Okay, cool. Yay, that's great. So they have things like these holes right here, right? I sort of want to do that on the other side. I want to mirror it, you know? I think that would look cool. But that's cool. All right. And then this piece goes on the back. How does it go? Okay, this goes in, and then this goes under. All right, so see all that armor? Like, it just covers everything up. So in my diorama, the one leg will be done and hanging out. But the other leg, we're going to either make access holes in the armor, or we'll have entire panels of the armor off and sort of set aside, as if the mechanics are, doing their thing, doing the repairs that they do. Okay. Those 3 rockets are so fun. Now these ones I definitely should be able to get that burned look. Freshly burned rocket launchers. I should be able to get that pretty easily, I think. Okay. How does this work? How does this work, folks? Now, we got this goofy little thing, right? These are hoses. And they're going to hold all these little teeny tiny bits. And if I'm reading this correctly, hopefully I'm doing this right. Go in there. Oh, there's a little nub. It's getting in my way. Okay, look at this. You see the extra little nub? Oh, there you can see it. A little teeny tiny nub right there. I gotta cut that off. It's getting in the way. Not the whole thing, just the little tiny extra hanging shad. You don't get that reference. Sorry. Too bad. Alright. There we go. There we go. Alright, that works. We feed it in. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. There we go. Okay. So this is going to go, it's going to go here to here. Right, those 2 spots. But the key is these little teeny tiny rings are going to go on there. See these little guys? Those little tiny rings. They're going to go on. Just like this. Boom. Boom. There's 8 of them, so it's 4 on each level. I'm glad they don't just slip right off, because they certainly look like they would. But they're not. They're not. They're just keep on moving. Okay. There we go. There we go. All right. Okay. So the first step is to put them in the holes like this, where they belong. Okay. Second step is bend them and then put them in that final resting place on the other end. Oh, that's sort of a pain in the butt. Oh my. Okay. Why didn't anybody warn me about this step? We're gonna get there. Okay, hang on. Hold on. One thing I've learned: don't rush myself. Don't rush it, man. Don't rush. Just get some tweezers. It's gonna be okay. Okay. Alright, so we gotta get this thing situated. We gotta bend the pipes at the same time. See? Like that. Look at that. How smart. You see? You use the right tool for the job and it slips right into place. And there's that little fun detail. Interesting. Okay. And then what I don't have right now is there's a pipe piece that does go in here. And the lower portion of the pipe, I'm just going to put the holders in where they would fit once it's ready. And yeah, that would be here, up here, and there will be a pipe attaching those to those. So there you have it, that is one chonky leg. Pretty cool looking. But that's just the leg, guys. That is just the leg. So let's look here. Let's see here. Yeah, there is like very little mobility on this. Okay, so you can sort of get a little more. Yeah, it is pretty tight. Oh, gracious. I'm turning into a pumpkin, people. That's not good. There's a lot of open space on these panels, which I feel like is where I'm going to wind up being able to do some panel lining, some scribing. Put some new panels in. I mean, you know, I think people would... There's some people, some purists who would object to that because they think the Verka design is so good that why would you add to it? But it's my kit, and I'll add to it if I want to. So, but there we are. That's the leg. Okay, so that is one of the legs. We have another leg to do. And it's basically the same exact operation. Looking at the instructions. It is, yeah. It's the same operation. It's just the opposite. I'm not going to do that tonight. I am tired, folks. So it's time to turn it in. But we made some good progress. So we have the torso, the head, both left and right arms, both of his cool kicks, and one leg. Snap built. When I think about my schedule that I gotta keep, I have to have the snap build done by the end of this week. So I will be working on it every day to make sure that I get it done. I gotta stay on track. So that is it. So snap build will get done. Yeah. And I'm gonna clip this because I do not want to knock it off the table and lose parts. That would be so sad. So very, very sad, my friends. Anyways, there we are. We made some good progress on the snap build for the Psycho Zaku. I would invite you to hang out some more with me and watch him build. Let's talk. Let's chat. This project is going to be a lot of fun, and this is just the beginning. Well, I just got really tired, so but this is just the beginning, right? So there's going to be some customization work going on. There's going to be, of course, painting, all the different things that are going to go into this project, and I want you along for the ride. So hang out. I appreciate you. Find joy in your hobbies. And if it's Gunpla, find joy in your Gunpla. And we'll see you around. Have a blessed week. We'll talk later.